In fact, Angel Pavement, whatever its literary merits may be, is in intention a serious novel, tackling serious political and social themes, and it offers a serious and timely, in 1930, indictment of financial capitalism and its effects on the lives of ordinary people. It marks the point where Priestley, freed by his success, begins to engage politically with the gathering political and economic crisis, something which Orwell in 1930 had not yet done. So instead of churning out light-hearted essays for which there would have been a big market, he began writing popular but serious left-wing journalism in popular left-of-center papers such as Daily Herald and the News Chronicle. His novels of the 1930s, which continued to sell well, also explored serious themes from mass unemployment and the power of the press in Wonder Hero, published in 1933, to the interplay of apathy, traditionalism, and Americanization in British society in the novel Let the People Sing, published in 1939. He also produced a book of highly readable reportage, which is also a serious critical study of British society, English Journey, published in 1944, of which more will be said later. In taking this political turn, Priestley, unlike Orwell later on, was not experiencing a conversion, but actually returning to his origins. The son of a school teacher in the industrial town of Bradford, who left school at 16 to work in a wool merchant's office, he inherited a rich tradition rooted in northern industrial communities, provincial, nonconformist, radical, and by his time socialist, whose importance in English life is often overlooked. The Independent Labour Party, which Orwell eventually joined in the 1930s, was founded in Bradford. Priestley's father was an active member, and it was for the ILP's local paper, the Bradford Pioneer, that the teenage Priestley did his first unpaid writing. Orwell's story could hardly be more different, as we all know. The lower, upper, middle-class Etonian, raised in the traditions of English gentlemanly capitalism, and sent out to run the empire like so many young men of his class and background, an empire which from Bradford was almost invisible. Priestley grew up oblivious to the social world that Orwell came from until he was in his 20s and in the army, and his response to this world was and remained, I quote, bewildered, half amused, half indignant, unquote. This is a difference then not just of biography but of heritage, trajectory and standpoint, and it can be seen most vividly in the contrast between English Journey on the one hand and the Road to Wigan Pier on the other hand. As Valentine Cunningham argued in his study of 1930s writers, Wigan Pier owes a debt to the earlier English Journey, which is never acknowledged and is thus, I quote, sometimes wrongly taken as a wonderfully unique achievement, unquote. In both books, we find the same structural form of the journey, the continuous, opinionated, authorial voice, the personal encounters with the locals, occasional facts and figures, and a descriptive mood which turns the landscape itself into a vehicle of moral indignation. Yet there are also major differences. Orwell's book is about going somewhere unfamiliar, like some 19th century African explorer. I quote Road to Wigan Pier. When you go to the industrial north, he tells us, you are conscious of entering a strange country. My italics, underline the you. My own father, meaning John Baxendale's own father, so John Baxendale's own father grew up in the, I quote, dreadful environs of Wigan, unquote, probably a quote from the Road to Wigan Pier, I suspect, and whose left book club copy of Wigan Pier I possess, might well have wondered who this you, used by George Orwell, was meant to be. What was the identity of this what did this you actually refer to? Clearly not him, John Baxendale's father, to whom this country was not strange. It is not simply that Orwell assumes the stance of an outsider, that's what he was, it is that he assumes that his reader is also an outsider. You are conscious, blah, blah, blah. An outsider that is in the north of England, but an insider in another, more exalted sphere, which it is assumed is the sort of normal place to come from. Not that Orwell is unaware of the issue of social distance, that is much of what part 2 of the Road to Wigan Pier is about, but he does not succeed in transcending it, because distance is embodied in the very structure and indeed in the title of the book itself. Now, Priestley's English Journey, on the other hand, is not a journey to anywhere. It is a journey around the place where Priestley already is, along with his readers, and that place is England. This England is a very varied place, and some bits are doing better than others, but all of it belongs there and is not coming into it from somewhere else more normal. Nor does he only focus on the poor and disadvantaged bits. He takes in the whole thing from the potholes to the derelict shipyards. That is important because although there is social division and inequality in this England, we are all members of it, which is what makes the social exclusion caused by the slump particularly objectionable. Was Jarrow still in England or not? He asks indignantly, and of course it was, though it was not being treated as though it was. Orwell concludes Wigan Pier with a rather tortured debate with himself over class and socialism, and he doesn't try to explain why the countries and the state he has described, even though socialism is supposed to help us explain these things. After all, 1984, for one thing, seems to me to suffer from the same problem.